Hey, it is Kim C. Lee. I'm coming to you this evening. It is hot outside. I had to get used to it today. Maybe not related, but I feel like I'm still sweating through it. But I'm coming to you this evening with a Let's Talk About chat with author Rona D or Rona Drinker, depending on how you know her. Either way, you will figure that out and she'll be here. But we're coming today to talk about friendship. The topic today is friendship, and I'm so happy to have her. We are streaming through different platforms today, so we may not see your chats. If you are coming through Facebook or YouTube, please drop the comments. We can see yours. Again, Instagram may be a little bit tricky. We'll do some editing later to make sure if there are any questions that do pop up on Instagram that we capture them. So at this time, I'm going to bring Rona to the studio with me. Hey,
Hey,
Rona.
hello. Good evening. How are you?
Good. I'm great. We were just getting ready and prepping and shaking out all the nerves,
Yes.
trying to wind down from the long day, all of that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it didn't feel like a Wednesday. I felt like it was Friday or something. I needed it
Or
to be the
Monday.
end of the week.
Or Monday again, right? Sometimes we get the
Possibly.
yes.
Exactly.
So we're
Yes.
going to jump into this chat with you. As usual, I like to ask my guests to introduce themselves. So can you take a moment and start us off with the introduction of yourself?
Sure. So my name is Rona D. Drinkard. I go by author D, Rona D. And I have started the journey of writing actually about 20 years ago. And it did not come to fruition until 2022. So now we are, talking about friendship and friendship matters and everything surrounding that topic as a result of that book that was drafted almost 20 years ago. So I've been enjoying the journey of being an author.
Yes, and it's globally known. I want to make sure that
Yeah.
we highlight that up front.
Yes.
Her book, Friendship Matters, is globally known. It's superbly written. It is very popular. And I'm excited about this chat because we're going to talk about sister friends, right?
Yes.
It's a different type of relationship. I know we've been talking to a lot of, over the last few days, urban fantasy, romance, and so forth. But you are going to be participating in the Black Love, Romance and Black Love panel at the Sandy Springs Slave Museum Black Author Book Festival this Saturday. And you're part of that panel, but we're really highlighting just Black love in general. And that doesn't have to mean romantic love, it's the relationships between different people. I want to ask you, as I was preparing for this, I was reading and I saw this quote and it captured me. So you have a review, and the reviewer indicated that your book is not only women's fiction, but an honest description of the female experience of African American women. The voice of these women is still sorely underrepresented in literature, and with her book, Rona makes a great service to all of us. So can you talk first a little bit about the background of your book, and then really explain or provide some insight with regards to what this quote means to you?
Okay, sure. So, Friendship Matters developed out of a longing for home. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, and I relocated to Maryland. And missing family and friends, I started writing. Don't know that I actually thought it would turn into a book, but it did. And what I wrote about was my experience, so to speak, in a fictional manner with relationships, friendships. I have a group of friends that I've been friends with now probably since I was 12 or 13 on up. I've developed some friendships in between there as well. And that was the experience and the culture and the relationships that I experienced back home. So I started writing about it. And when they spoke about it, this organization is centered in Australia, believe it or not. They're Australia based. And when they printed that, I was taken back because for me, this is normal, right? I'm just writing about what I'm used to. But when you really think about it from a media perspective, we're not seeing a lot of the genuine, authentic connections that we all know to be true. And so I think that's why they stated that it's underrepresented, because the truth of the matter is that we do engage in very loyal, strong bonds that go beyond friendship, develop into family. You become like blood, you know.
That's that's
And
my
so I think that's what that was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in some prior conversations, we really talked about representation of people in the media, whether it be television, magazines, or so forth. And sometimes these negative stereotypes
Yeah.
are perpetuated. So the fact that you took your own experience and you have these positive relationships, or even just more realistic
Yes.
representation of how we as Black women interact with one another, whether it is a happy moment or a sad moment, challenging moment, showing up for one another, and just really being there in the moment and supporting one another. I can definitely appreciate that. Um,
Yes.
so let's talk about some of your challenges and rewards of portraying strong female bonds, because as we said before, some people don't really know what that looks like. So I guess I want to ask you specifically from a Black female experience. People don't see that. What has been your experience with that? Is it challenging? What is the best thing that has come out of this?
I think what I've learned along the way is that we can accept one another's faults and still be close and support one another. Like, I may not agree with what you're about to do or what you share with me, but that doesn't mean that we are no longer friends. I'm not going to cut you off, because that's an opportunity to help one another grow. So why, if you've presented to me your genuineness and vice versa, but we have a difference of opinion, that does not separate us as friends. And I find that, to me, it's not challenging to present that, because that is what is important to me. I like good spirited people, genuine interactions, and just, making people feel comfortable. And I think that that is most important in just relationships, period. And I think Black women do it. We do it all the time. When
Mhm.
we walk by one another, you hear, "You beautiful." "Oh, I love your hair." "Oh, I like that outfit." I mean, we tend to not focus on the fact that that happens on a regular basis. And we focus on, maybe some of the negative things that you might would see in the world of, or in social media. So I think we do that on a regular basis. And this book just captured that. The most common term that I hear from all readers is it's relatable, because it is representing what we experience on a regular basis.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So let me redirect for a moment. So you've given us kind of a synopsis of the book. Can you give us some insight into the characters and
Sure.
who they are and how you develop them?
Okay. So three best friends, Seisha, Unique, and I get real funny about people mispronouncing her name. It's Seisha. Unique and Candace. And these three women really just have pieces of me. Some have more than others. It may have just been a talent that one had that I gave her, and I kind of just went through it. But Seisha is your sassy character. She's determined to do things her way. She's hilarious in the sense that she's always involved in something.
Mhm.
Um, Unique is the conservative character. She's the widow who is the foundation of the friendship. She's providing the wisdom. She keeps them, connected and analyzing things in a way where they can move forward. Candace is the more dutiful character. She decided to put her talents aside to support her not so faithful husband. And but so these two, you have Unique and Sasha, who are communicating probably almost every day. And they may talk to Candace maybe every 3 to 4 days, but the bond is still just as
Yeah,
strong. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so they come together, and while they're navigating, they're looking for, happiness, love, and just peace in aspects of their life. While they're navigating those things, you get to experience their journey of friendship, and how, Unique is not necessarily happy about what you Seisha is doing, but that's her girl. She there to support her. Unique can't cook, but Seisha can. So she always, talking about her, but she gonna offer some food to her anyway. So it's just how they show up. Mhm.
So as I listen to you talk about the relationships between them and that understanding of like if you don't talk to someone for a while, it doesn't mean necessarily that you're not friends anymore. I think as we mature in life, these are all lessons
Yes.
as women that we come to understand, right? And at some point you level out, and even though I mean you do have those situations where you aren't as connected to people, but I think over time you figure out who your real tribe is,
Yes.
so forth. What about the women who have never experienced that, or they've never gone through the process where they had to figure it out because for whatever reason they just don't have these strong connections to other women? What type of advice would you give them on building relationships with other women and nurturing those relationships so that they can exist in their life with and the benefit of them, so forth?
I think it would be more of you have to open yourself up to be to meet and to allow people to get to know you. Right? It's not bad that you're not the type of person that likes to talk on the phone. There's a whole bunch of people like that. You prefer to text. It's, sometimes I think that we close ourselves off and we don't open ourselves up enough for people to get to know us, see our hearts, and then begin to develop those type of relationships. Since I've written a book, I've encountered women that have said, I don't have any friends. And I'm always like baffled by that because they're out there. Are you willing to allow yourself to have that experience?
Mm,
And so, I mean, it kind of comes natural for me, but I do think that I know people who struggle with connections, and it's a fear of being rejected, it's a fear of being judged, it's a fear of not being seen, whatever that is. But what you have to realize, first of all, none of us are perfect, only God, right? And so we're going to make mistakes, but you have to be willing to open yourself up to allow people to get to know you, to learn, share, and connect with other people. Get out of the house. You know what I'm saying? When people start to call you and ask to do things, force yourself to do some things instead of saying no every time and stuff like that. So I just think as women, we just have to kind of build ourselves up, build our confidence up, build our support circle by extending um, and allowing people to get to know us.
yeah, take a chance, right?
Take a chance. Yeah.
Along with that, but along with that, the only thing that I would counter for that is at some point you learn yourself, right? So there are still boundaries.
You're
And I feel
right.
like when you're developing those relationships and you're bringing people, you're allowing them in, but there is a kind of respecting one another's boundaries, right? And
That's right.
that goes back to what you said of if we're friends and I know you, I understand your boundaries. I
Yes,
respect those boundaries, and our friendship will thrive through the existence of those boundaries because we do have that respect and so
exactly. I
yeah.
agree with that. I agree with that. And I also think like I have some friends that I'm probably the one that calls the most. And I'm okay with that. Long as you hit me back, even if you don't answer then, but hit me back. It's okay. Don't get mad because they never call you. They are maybe that's not
Busy.
their way. And that's not that we're all busy, but that's just not their way. They
Mhm.
may think about you, but they don't pick up the phone. But I'm gonna pick up the phone, and that's fine. You didn't answer today, but within about 2 or 3 days, you're gonna hit me back, and it's all love. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I'm not taking that personal.
Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
Um, when you receive response to the book, what character do people
Oh
mostly
my
identify with, or do they say, "I love that character"?
I was shocked because my favorite was Seisha, which is why she starts out the book. I just loved her sassiness. Um, Most people love Candace, and
Mm,
Candace was the most difficult character for me to write, and primarily because at that time in my life, I did not like the things she was accepting.
mm,
So she irritated me. And the more I wrote, I kept writing her story, I would get frustrated. But then, she came around and I began to really understand and love her. So it's like I developed in that process, so to speak. I matured in that area. And so I didn't expect that people would be so strongly connected to her, male and female.
Mhm.
They really love how she developed her strength.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Because that usually that love, and it's either I feel like this, either you know someone who
Hmm.
is like that and you have like this incredible amount of respect for them,
Yes.
or you see yourself in that
Yes.
character, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
you mentioned that all the characters have are pieces of you. So
Yes.
how did you, even now when you were talking about writing canons, uh, it was difficult. So how did you compartmentalize in order to work through that? Like what were some of your, I guess, techniques for doing that?
Mhm. Well, I think so. In the beginning, I was working, and I cannot remember her name for some reason, but she was the first person I was talking to that I was considering editing my book at that time. And she asked me to do a character outline
Mhm.
with personality traits. So once you identify their personality traits, their likes, their dislikes, how they like to dress, the things they experienced maybe in their childhood and stuff, to me, it was easier to continue to go down the path of how she should show up. It
Mm.
made sense because of her upbringing, because of her personality, because of her choices. And I mean, just people in general. I love working with people. My whole career has been in working with people. My bachelor's is in psychology. So it's just the way my mind works. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
I understand the direction in which people are going according to their personality traits.
Did you do a visual also when
Yeah.
you were creating the characters? It was just all mental and
Yeah.
written out. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I'm more of a visual person, so I probably
Mhm.
would have had a drawing. And I know that when other writers create, they do the same thing. They
Okay.
create, they do a profile for their characters so that they can stay steady in the story with what they represent, the things they like.
Yeah.
Even from a marketing perspective, right? Uh,
Mhm.
Similar, you want to know who you're targeting, and
Right.
so I do wonder if people who, like we talked about, people who are drawn to the certain characters. As I listen to you talk, I feel like you could teach a workshop.
Oh,
I always do like these tangent things, but I feel
right.
like you could teach a workshop on like the friendship aspect and developing the friendships and so forth. So if you ever consider that, let me know.
Absolutely. It's been things I've talked about along the way. I just had to, I'm still writing, so I'm just like, I got to do one of them at a time.
Yes.
However, I would love to do something like that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and if you ever do get a visual, I can see the 3 of them on a mug. And
Okay. Yeah.
similar to
Hmm.
what we've done with some other popular, shows or novels that have, girlfriends,
Hmm.
might be able to get some swag that has "I am canon," like, so forth,
Right.
like that. That would be really cool as
That
well.
would be. I think there's been a benefit to me for me not doing a visual in the sense that it's funny to listen to people how they describe the characters. I
Mhm.
love hearing that. In their
Because
minds, "Oh,
I can
she's
hear.
this."
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't give them anything. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? I didn't
Their
give them anything.
creativity feeds off of
Mhm.
it, yeah.
Mhm.
So, in creating this story, what does it take? What does it take to do what you do and do it well and be successful? If I wanted to go and write a story similar to yours in the same genre, adult fiction, what would you how would you encourage me? What are some tips that you would suggest for me?
I'd say the first thing you do is outline. I did not outline the first book, and I got a hold of this book when I was doing research because I self-published,
Mhm,
and I was doing research on the process, and I came across this one book, and the lady, I listened to it through Audible, and she was saying, "You have to outline your book. If you do not outline your book, do not proceed without outlining." So if you've written a whole book, then you got to go back through it and outline. That was probably the most tedious process for me, especially having written a book almost 17 years prior.
mhm.
So I picked this book up from 17 years ago to get it for push it forward. So as you know, I'm writing the sequel. Well, I finished the sequel actually about almost 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you
Yes,
announced
I'm so
that.
excited.
Congratulations.
Yes, and so what I did, most importantly, is I outlined. Now, I'm not a person that outlines and then says, "This is how I'm gonna put the story together." I
Mhm.
write, and then I go back and outline per chapter.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it comes to me,
That
I
still
write
helps
it.
you keep everything. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it comes to me, I write it, and then I'll keep going, and then what I've learned is not to go reread, because if I keep rereading, I won't move forward. So I just use the outline, I'll go back to that outline, look at that outline, and then I'll continue to write, pick up and pick up. But yeah, I don't outline, from the start. But I think
Mhm.
that was key, the character outline, characterization, document, and then the, book outline. Those are the 2 biggest things I say.
So that's really interesting because typically you do hear people do it the opposite direction, but your method still helps you keep the details in sync.
Yes.
So I did this in chapter 1, this can't happen in chapter 10,
Right.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do children's books, but I typically just write what comes to me. And I am the person that will go back and change it. I may sit it down and leave it. Like I have several books that I've started writing and then I stopped in the middle of it. And then
Mhm.
I'm like, I'll go back to it.
Okay.
Um, but it's yeah, everyone has a different writing style. So I think it's important for anyone who is interested in writing to know that it's okay to have a different style. You
Yeah.
know, as long as you get there and it's fluid and it makes sense as you're
Yeah.
going through it, it's totally fine to have your own process for getting there.
I do
And
agree.
unique. Yeah. Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
So
it's
you
been very helpful throughout.
yes. So you mentioned the sequel. So tell us a bit about the sequel. You just finished it. Was that the draft or was that like it's published?
Oh,
Let us
no,
know. Okay, the
that's the
draft.
draft. So it's, now we're gonna move into a series because I got my juices going. And when I
Mhm.
first, wrote Friendship Matters, I never thought of it about as being a sequel to it or anything like that, only because people kept asking. So I said, "Okay,
Mhm.
well, Imma write the second book." And so this one is called, The Matters of Friendship. And it is the same characters, of course, and it's a continuation to the story. And it captures some of the questions that some of the readers had, like what is going to happen with Cameron, and what about Seisha's mom, and so all of that. And so all of those things are kind of encompassed in this story, and it just continues on with their friendship. The theme is still a romantic comedy, women's fiction, style book. Um, I think similar to the first book, the first chapter is gonna have you, like, going through at least 4 emotions at
Oh my
once. Yeah,
goodness.
it does.
Basically
Every time I
at
read it,
night.
I'm like yeah,
Don't read
it's
at night.
exciting. Say it again?
Don't read at night. If you gotta go to bed, don't read at night.
Yes, because 'cause you're not gonna get no sleep as soon as you
Yeah.
read that. So it's I'm excited to be able to share. Right now, it's going through the editing process.
Mhm.
And then, of course, the cover design. So, going through the steps of getting it out there, hopefully early January is when I hope to be able to release it, but I will be identifying those dates soon.
Okay, so you gotta keep us posted for the process,
Absolutely.
and when it's coming
Absolutely.
out, do you think you'll have a release party or anything like that?
Imma tell you something. That first one, I went all out. We had a book launch at, Morton's. It was amazing. We had a phenomenal time. Family traveled in, wonderful experience. This time, I think I'm going to do similar to what we are doing, but we're gonna
Oh,
party a little bit because everything yeah, it's gonna be virtual, I believe. And, I look forward to doing that. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah.
that can be a whole production too though, right? The
Oh, it
virtual
always is.
so
Yeah.
you can use the platform that we're on now. You can have people come in. I know for my second book, I did like this whole production. I think it's on YouTube, but I did this whole production. I had people come, I had kids on there saying, I like the book
Oh,
because
that was awesome. You
I
gotta
had
send
hosts.
that to me. Yeah,
Yeah,
send me that
I
link.
definitely and it was really fun too. It was
Yeah.
like behind the scenes, I was like sweating. and I was
Right.
like buttons behind the scene. But it was
Right.
really fun. And when I go back and look at it, I think it's something that will exist. It'll be out there. So if
Yes.
people need an introduction to you, it will be something that is thoughtful,
Yeah.
something that allows them to learn you,
Yeah.
something that allows them to understand how you got into it. I mean, all those things you can capture, and it's like, it's like finding one of those movies from way back, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, now I know it. My son just discovered Aliens, so
Oh,
I'm thinking of that as I say that, like he's gone back to watch
right.
and so forth. But yeah, like
Right.
I look forward to that. Yes, definitely we
Oh, it's
will
gonna be
be
fun.
watching and stay posted.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, where can people find the first book? The second one's not available, but where can they find Friendship Matters?
Sure. So my website, www.ronadwrites.com. I don't know why I always say that W, but everybody knows. ronadwrites.com. And so it's available on Amazon in the ebook version, paperback, hardcover, if you want signed or autographed copies directly from the website. So it's various ways to get your hands on it. We'll be doing a read together. I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but we're going to go back through Friendship Matters because you're going to want to read Friendship Matters before you read The Matters of Friendship.
Oh, so you're gonna like
So
facilitate discussion, go back
yeah,
to the
well,
is
at
that
least
virtual?
talks about it virtually.
Okay, virtually? Okay. Oh, okay,
Yep.
yes. When is it
Yeah.
gonna start?
I think probably within the next month or so.
Okay,
Yeah. Soon, soon.
okay.
Yep. Okay.
So it won't be
Yep.
long.
So you can get your copy there. And you can find me on social media at Rona D Writes on all platforms. Yeah.
Yes, and you will be at the museum this Saturday
I
in person,
will.
so
I'm
people can
excited.
come and get pictures with you and say, "I met
Yes.
her in person," and they can get signed books and all of
Yep.
that. We'll be on a panel, so you guys can come if you're here in Maryland. Make sure you come out and support
I
and get
cannot
this
wait.
book. And me either. I can't wait either. I'm really, really excited. I do want to ask though, so you mentioned all these different websites and platforms and stores and so forth where we can find your book. Since you are self-published, do you prefer for people to buy from your site?
I am fine with whichever,
Okay.
right?
I like
If
to
you
ask.
want,
Yeah.
yeah. If you want a hard copy, I only sell those direct. So
Okay.
if you're like me, I love a hard copy. You get directly from the website, but Amazon is just as sufficient. Whichever
And
works
if
for
you
you.
get signed, it has to be
Yes.
direct. Yes,
Yes.
yes, 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 definitely. So
Yep.
is there anything else that you want to share with the audience this evening, before we close out?
Well, I will just say that the book has developed into a movement that we call the Friendship Matters Experience. And with
Oh,
that, I mean, we do a lot of events. We're going all through DC and Maryland and Virginia, going out to eat and wine tastings, different candle making, different activities. Um, and I like to engage, offer people to be able to join, especially if you're local. Come join us, participate. It's called the Friendship Matters Experience. It's a group on Facebook. And I'm doing different book tours, like I'll be on Raw, which is called the Romance Readers and Writers
mhm.
convention that's coming up in November. So that's coming up. We're going to Aruba. The Friendship Matters Experience group is going in November.
Okay, you
And then
travel?
yeah, we are doing big things. And then at the end of the year, we take everybody, the ladies, we do the Ritz. So we do a
Mm,
weekend at the Ritz in December in Arlington. So those are the things that we kind of have going on, and that keeps it going. That's about authentic connections. So I
yeah,
enjoy it.
I love that. So is that accessible if you wanna join? Do people go to your website? I mean, I know you mentioned the Facebook page, so is it private? Do you have to
Yeah,
request access? Okay, so it's called the
you
Friendship
have to request
okay, I
that
think we can
Friendship
put
Matters Experience.
Friendship Matters
Mhm.
Experience. Okay, so for those of you out there, because 'cause I'm
Yeah,
thinking a few people that I know that may be very interested in it, especially since they're out in VA. So I'm gonna share
yes.
that. But yes,
Yes.
so go out to Facebook. If you don't have a Facebook account, you're gonna have to create one. Is there, if someone doesn't have a Facebook account, can they get on through your website, or
Yeah, I do
is
have
there?
my website as well.
Okay,
It's friendshipmattersexperience.com.
okay. So head on
Mhm.
out and join. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna join. I don't know if I can always veer down that far, but I'm gonna see what y'all got going on, so I can join in on the fun, especially when y'all talk
Yeah,
about
please.
that sounds very fun. So yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to thank you. I so appreciate your time this evening. I'm so looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. Again, for those of you who are here, you got some real love in the comments. So I hope
Oh,
if you can see them, there's Let's Go Buffalo, there goes my baby in my Usher
oh,
voice. That's your husband. Is that your husband? Maybe.
that's my husband. I didn't even see those.
Yes, it's fine. And lots of agreement. So there's some love here for you. Um,
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being here. I can't,
Thank
as I
you.
said before, I can't wait to meet you. And please go out and support. I know I have the audio. I'm not the audio. I have the what is it?
Ebook.
The thank you. It's
Uh-huh.
I have a long day. I have the ebook, but
Same.
now I want to get the hard copy. So you'll have hard copies on Saturday. So I have to pick up a
I will.
copy
I will.
and get that. I can get that actually signed. So
Yep.
so I will see you Saturday. I hope you have a
Yes.
great evening. If you haven't had
You
dinner, I
too.
hope you see something good to eat and all
Yes.
that happiness.
Listen,
All right.
thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Yes, of course, definitely. Thank you so much. And
Thank
everyone out there, we
you.
will see you again tomorrow. There's one more chat with two authors tomorrow. So we will
Oh,
see you
awesome.
then. Yes, yes. And have a good evening. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.